Greetings, MelVee family. I hope I find you well wherever you are. I'm your host for this MelVee podcast on the go. Melusi Ndhlalambi is my name, and what a blessing it is to come to your homes on your handset, wherever you are. We're bringing you this special discourse, a discussion that you don't want to switch off. Stay in right there. Subscribe to this channel, like this video, leave a comment below because we're going to have a lot of discussions with you. Today I'm coming with you with Bishop Vincent Mafu. My brother, greetings, how are you?
I'm good, sir. Thank you.
What a blessing to have you back again.
The honor is mine.
Great.
Is mine. Thank you.
We've got a very hot topic today. But before we get into it, let's talk about life in general. How has life been?
Life has been fair.
Yes.
It is fair. It is what you do with it. But
Exactly.
it's fair, sir.
24 hours are given unto you.
24 hours, sir.
How many you sleep?
It's up to you.
How many you work?
And the size of vision you're pulling.
When you're pulling a big one, they say you must wake up very early in the morning.
That's right.
It's a long haul.
It is. It is.
Now, on this podcast, we want to talk about something that's very hot. Something that is perhaps practical for some people out there, but perhaps has deeper spiritual implications. The future of nations depend on this topic. The current peace and joy of families depend on this topic. We're talking about a wounded womb.
The wounded womb.
The wounded womb. And of all organs, maybe let me ask you, why do you think we must talk about this subject? I've heard you teach about this. I've heard you say when the devil attacks man, it goes for the mind. But when he attacks the woman, it goes for the body. And particularly today, we're talking about the attack on the womb. But why the womb?
The womb is the door of life. Nothing exists in this plane unless it comes through the gates of time, which is the womb. So if we are going to talk about the womb, we ask, how do you get in here? Because the womb is the only legal entry into the earth realm. So if we talk about the womb, we are talking about literally the access points to life, whether it be human life, animal life, it all must come through the womb.
So when God said, I knew you before you were even conceived
in your
mother's womb.
Yeah.
I fashioned you right in there.
In the womb.
So that is God's workspace.
That's God's workspace. That's God's workshop or workhouse.
Workshop, yeah.
That's where God crafts destiny. That's where God begins to craft kings and queens and poets and great people. They're all crafted in the womb. The womb is a divine ordination place. The first place God ordained the prophet was in the womb before the church or the mountain.
Wow.
It's in the womb.
Wow.
So if we don't address the womb, the nation will crumble because it is the place of beginnings.
And to address this, perhaps we need to identify the tools that God is using. Because a workshop is not a workshop unless it has tools.
Yeah.
What God is using. And so God, in creating human beings, maybe let's go back. You are a theologian, so you can walk us through this. If I go medical, perhaps I may remain shallow. So
Lord have mercy. Not you.
Let me go spiritual first. God creates Adam.
Yeah.
Why didn't he give him a womb?
God created Adam. The first man, Adam, was not like me and you. One thing that we've not been taught in theology, we think Adam didn't have a womb. According to who? Eve was in Adam. So the first male that walked this earth was unlike any other male because that man had Eve in and God had to pull Eve out.
Out of the man.
Out of the man. So the first man, Adam, we don't know how he looks like.
But we don't know if he had a womb either.
We don't know because it's not written. And Adam didn't have a womb, but he had a woman in him. And the woman in him had the womb. But the first womb of a man is his mind.
Thank you. Now I'm comfortable.
Yes.
Now I know where the womb of a man is.
That's why I say when the devil attacks a man, he attacks your mind. So you'll find mad men in the Bible, but you'll never find a mad woman. They are there in our time. But the elements of the Bible are more than just elements. They are depictions of the corrosion of sin.
Yeah.
So you won't find a mad woman in the Bible. Even if they are there, they are not recorded. Because anything that attacks the mind is a property of masculinity.
All right.
So you will not find also a woman who had palsy. You won't find a woman who was blind. All these are attacks on the head. Blindness is an attack on the head. Madness is an attack here. So you will see that the womb of a man is his mind, and it has three wombs. There's the womb of contemplation, which deals with my now. there's the womb of memory that deals with my past. And there's the womb of imagination that deals with my future. And if any of these wombs are contaminated, they are injured, then the quality of my life will betray the quality of that womb.
All right.
The mind.
All right. So he creates Adam, he gives him the womb and the mind, but when he makes Eve, not from the soil,
No.
but from the bone.
Yes.
So now we know, with what you're saying, theologically, the bone is not just a dead thing.
No.
Even after you're dead, your bones can tell your whole life.
Bones are prophetic. When you go to a sangoma, they say speak to the bones.
Exactly. There's life
because
there.
There's life there. When you are dead and they want to prove it's your tomb, they'll say take the bone.
Yes.
Because the bone has fossils that betray DNA.
Exactly.
The highest DNA content is in your bones.
Yeah.
So those bones are not just bones, but that's genetic. Actually, bones is a genetic cosmic sleep.
Exactly.
So when God took the bone, he was actually taking
blueprint.
the DNA of the man and then added what was not. The womb.
Yeah. And he took a bone that was very special to the body, the rib. And we know medically that's a very delicate, thin bone, curved. Sometimes medical doctors shear it off to repair other bones.
Can you imagine? Oh, that's heavy.
And it's a bone that repairs itself.
Yes, sir.
So out of that DNA...
it's self-regenerating.
Yes, a bone that's protected by one of the strongest muscle and bones. So women are protected. And he fashions a woman, and in that woman, he plants this organ which we don't find in men, the womb. And when you look at the womb, anatomically, it's a system that works with many other support systems. For the woman, you find it in the pelvic floor and the muscles that form the pelvic floor. So it's joined to your hips and all the key muscles of the abdomen. Very small organ, size of a pear. All right. It's not active in many women until they get to puberty.
So it's a seasonal organ.
Yes.
It functions in its season.
In a season. And it doesn't function for the rest of the life of that woman.
No.
There's a time when she gets to the end of using the womb. Some women even go for vasectomy. They get it taken out. But small size of a pear, but powerful, can expand during pregnancy to carry a 3 kg baby, connected to many muscles, which we call the pelvic floor, which is literally a floor.
Yeah.
Which means there are muscles that are there to carry it when it is expanded and when it's smaller. Connected to fallopian tubes, canals that bring eggs, connected to ovaries, which are separate entities. But I find it very fascinating that ovaries actually determine the function of the womb or the uterus, because all of your hormonal discharges and the release of the egg triggers certain processes in the womb. And we see that as it operates, it's got muscle. In fact, if you operate it, you'll see nothing but muscle.
Muscle, yeah.
All right?
Yeah.
There's the inner layer of muscles, which are often worn out, and then someone goes on their monthly cycle. But there are also stronger muscles on the outside that are responsible for pushing you at birth. So here is an organ that God created not only to receive your fertilization process or to prepare for your process, but also to receive your DNA from the man when you're fertilized.
Yeah.
And then to nurture that small little lump and implant it in its walls, create all the organs that come up
from there.
The tubes and the amniotic fluid and the sac and everything. And for 9 months, it carries you. But there are times when the womb misbehaves and kicks you out.
That's when it's wounded. That's what I call a wounded womb.
And so life as we know it in this world, as big as we are, we came from that tiny little small workshop.
The size of a pear.
Yeah. That God says, I was at work in there.
Yeah.
So from a medical point of view, we're talking about a wonderful, magnificent factory.
Yeah.
That's amazing to behold. There are videos done actually of life as it begins in that tube, as it grows. Man, I discovered that it is the womb that makes us winners. I was talking to you about the book I'm writing.
Yeah. Yes.
That the womb is the first place where you are determined to be a winner among billions of sperms.
Yeah, swimming for that spot.
Your sperm swam until it got to the egg.
Yes, sir.
And you were conceived.
Yeah.
So victories were being won before you were even born.
In the womb.
It's
an arena of competition.
Exactly. A massive one.
Where only the qualified prove themselves.
There you go. We're talking about the womb here.
Yeah, and amazing.
And so you get conceived. There are times when the womb ejects what has been conceived.
Yeah.
And women miscarry.
Yeah.
And sometimes with painful consequences that follow. I'm hoping at some point, maybe I shouldn't because I haven't asked my wife for permission to share this story. I almost lost my wife in our first 2 years of our marriage because of complications in the womb.
Yeah.
When we lost our first 2 pregnancies. And so I have a personal attachment to the function of the womb. And I'm writing quite a lot about overcoming the seasons of life. And one of the seasons that we spend, the first season we spent in our life is 9 months in a womb, swimming in water, being fed through the tube, the fallopian. And when that tube snaps, you are dead.
Yeah.
But yours behaved for 9 months until you were pushed out by this womb and that tube went out with you.
Yeah.
And they had to cut it. And where that traditionally, or in the African sector, where that tube is buried is very important in the life of
it. It connects you with,
So we could spend the whole day talk about the medical aspects of the womb and the organs that it works with, connection through the cervix, which is the door into the womb. Powerful muscle that separates the birth canal from the womb. But that's the medical. That's what the human eye can look and see. But we're talking about something deeper here.
Yes, sir.
And I want us to spend a bit of time explaining where are we coming from? What is this concept of the wounded womb? And why is it important for someone out there, male or female, to understand what is a wounded womb and what does it got to do with me? Maybe a man out there is asking, what has it got to do with me?
A mother lost a daughter at the hands of a serial killer. And many mothers lost sons at the hands of serial killers. Those are wounded wombs that produced those aberrations that have left a trail of tears.
Yeah.
Because the womb can become, while the womb can be a godly place where godly ordination takes place, the womb can become a place of demonic ordinations. Don't just think that the womb has essence to the kingdom of God. The womb has essence to the kingdom of darkness. The womb is the genesis of everything. Even Jesus could not be born until he had to come through a womb, wrap himself in a pineapple of flesh. He said the other day, a body that was prepared for me in the womb. Why do we have to talk about the wounded womb? Number one, if you are barren as a woman, that's an indictment, thank you, against your femininity. It's an indictment. The pain of you not being able
to bear
or to do what is it is an archetypal instinct that God created as a woman to be able to produce. There is an attack on the womb as we have it now. One of the most dangerous places now on earth is a male sperm to be in the womb of a woman, number one. Number two, for the woman to carry the womb makes her a marked individual. When the devil spoke to Eve, not Adam, it was not out of stupidity of the female, as some sermons I've heard. That can exegete a good text, but distort the continuity of revelation.
All right.
When the enemy spoke to Eve, he was understanding the didactics and dynamics of entrance and exit.
All right.
That if I want to be part of the human race and everything, I go to the man through the woman, because the woman is the door of the man. That's a fact. The devil could have gone to Adam. If he could trick angels, please. Let's not talk about Adam and say Adam must. No, he could beguile angels. Capacity of a third. So please, the man is nothing. He was intentional
All
in
right.
speaking to the woman, because he understands that the woman is the legal entry, is the legal access point. He was doing it before Christ, because even Christ
right.
himself had to do the same. The angel had to knock by the door and be legitimate. So the enemy would not have been legitimate if he went to Adam. He went to Eve. I'm saying this very well.
Yeah.
So now when we look at the womb of a woman, it is the epicenter of creation. The woman is a version of God. The man is a version of God. Without both, we cannot really depict the picture of divinity. We need them both,
All right.
because there are different polarities from different angles of who God is.
Yeah.
When we attack the womb, we are attacking the content.
All right.
We can attack what that means. For example, sir, what do I mean when I say a wounded womb? I'm saying that there has been a COVID war against femininity that has caused women not to be connected with themselves.
Yeah.
And when a woman is not connected with themselves, the wound will bleed. The first place that a woman's body suffers when any sickness attacks her is the uterus. It's the womb section.
All right.
You go to your doctor, they want to see if you're healthy. The first thing the doctor wants, give me your urine. They don't do that with you.
No.
But with the woman, say, give me your urine, because they understand that the avenue to understanding the female
Yeah.
is the gate, the womb. So
Yeah.
give me
Your
some
urine.
liquid from there to determine whether you are healthy or not.
Yes.
Then they investigate others.
Or they'll put a speculum to inspect your cervix.
Cervix.
Yes. How healthy is it?
How healthy is it? Yes, your urine will tell you whether you're pregnant or not. It will tell you. The urine is a is a biological liquid of communicating with us when it's from the woman.
Yeah.
When it's a man, it's just marking territory. But when it's a woman,
It's marking health,
marking health,
fertility, the future,
yes,
the present and the future.
yes, sir.
Even the past can be deducted
In the womb.
of what passed through here.
So the quality of the atmosphere of the womb itself determines
Yeah.
the quality of offspring that will come. So the womb, I think that people don't understand how the wound has been wounded. As much as corporate work is good, when you put women under pressure, you must understand our archetypal bodies. Stress.
Yes.
You are created as a man on purpose, and you've got thick skin layer on purpose. You've got larger lungs than a female on purpose. The lungs of a man are larger than the lungs of a female.
Even the muscular
Even
body.
the muscular, the viscosity, the whole
Yeah.
your what do you call the skeleton? Your skeleton.
The skeleton.
All that, the density, it's different to exert pressure. When a woman finds herself dealing with the pressures of man and dealing with the requirements of men with a woman's body, the body begins to cry because it goes under stress.
All right.
Most of women's sicknesses are sicknesses because women are doing men's jobs in women's bodies.
But Pela, this is Beijing. The Beijing conference came with saying we are equal.
Yes.
And we have a right to
And
self-determination.
we are paying a heavy tax for that because the body is crying.
I like the point you're saying that it's a covert war that Satan is fighting.
Yeah.
So when he came to Eve and said, you can eat,
Yeah.
the issue was never the fruit.
No, it was the order. Remember, what brought sin is not eating. This is Bish now.
All right.
What brought sin was the reversal of divine order. When
All
Eve
right.
ate, nothing changed. The Bible does not say Eve ate, she became
And
naked.
then suddenly
no,
she
no,
be-
no, it was after normal. She even
Yeah.
went to Adam and everything was okay.
Yeah.
Everything. And
Was
Adam
still
said,
normal.
what are you doing?
What is
Adam
this?
didn't say you are naked. He says, did God not say we should not eat? The Bible says when the man took from the hand, not the tree.
Yeah.
When the man took from the hand, that hand was never meant to feed Adam. No, Adam's hand was meant to feed Eve. When the one was meant to feed fed, order broke and they were
Yeah.
naked.
Yeah.
So what brought sin really is broken order. When the order was reversed, when the one who was supposed to feed fed.
There's also a mystery I don't understand. Maybe as a theologian today, you can explain it to me. So the divine order is reversed and God comes
And God comes, this is what happened.
and says,
Says, "This woman-"
not that he was absent. I like the Bible where language, it says, and God
And
came.
because remember, the Bible has to come to your level. So it's written for you.
So that you can understand
for
there's
you.
a coming.
Yeah, so the Bible is not written in human dimension.
All right.
It does not give us the divine psychology.
Aha.
Because divine psychology, God
Will mess
doesn't
us
reason
up.
like me. So whenever the Bible is written, it's a one-sided tale
All
to the
right.
recipient. That,
Yeah.
And God came. It does not say where God was, but it's doing it for human reason.
And yeah, exactly. So he came saw the mess that had happened, and they were hiding in the presence of God. And God says, where are you?
Yeah.
The point I'm rushing to is when God begins to mete out the punishment. Adam, what have you done? Adam says, the woman you gave me. Eve, what is this? The snake beguiled me. The snake had nothing to say.
He had no legs to stand on.
Exactly. That's why it's a snake. So God begins to punish it and say, you'll eat of the dust of the ground and blah, 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 blah. They'll step on your head. He comes to Adam and Eve. Maybe it's because the text doesn't say, but I couldn't find it. God increases the pains of labor to Eve. But when he looks at Adam, he curses the ground.
Yep.
What was that about? Because I don't understand it. How could God change the biology? Let me use that word. And the anatomy of the operation of the systems of Eve and pain at birth. But for Adam, we're not told that he changed anything on Adam. But he said to Adam, the ground is cursed on your behalf. Can you tell us about what that was about, especially for Eve?
Yes. Let me talk about that. The anatomy of Adam suffers. He says your head will sweat. I always say the enemy goes for your head. God says your head will sweat.
All right.
From today, your head never sweated to eat. But the first one is headache, depression, frustration. Says that when God metaphorically says to Adam, before you eat, you shall sweat with your brow to till the ground. That's already showing a relationship between labor and mindset, that your mindset has to be in dis-ease for you to eat.
To get this.
So your head already is the target for you to eat. Then he goes to the woman. The woman, he says, that your desire
shall be that of your
that
husband.
of your husband.
That's deep.
So it means that a woman's desire is a curse. If you see how much women desire a man, or when a woman desires, you now understand that that's no longer just a mental issue. That's
It's a spiritual
curse.
issue now.
God says it means that you loved him normally, but because you fed him, now you are going to have a mad longing. Says and he says and your longing shall be for your husband. And when you see that longing, when a woman says, I'm horny, and I always say, women, when you're horny, always be holy when you're horny. But when a woman is horny, she can't control herself now. It's now hormonical. She can do anything. And by the way, a large majority of the male sperm is an antidepressant. It has
for females.
For females, yes.
Yeah.
When it goes for the female.
All right.
Because remember, when you secrete sperm from your spinal fluids, that's what you're secreting. It goes straight to her brain and fixes her. So the sperm of a man enters the womb into the mind. It fixes her. That's why I'm talking about a wounded womb. Where does it start, sir? When talk about the wounded womb. One, when a woman is not connected to her womb, she disconnects with herself and definitely misaligns with God. You can never be aligned to God if you're not aligned to the self. You can never. If you are not connected with yourself, and the danger is that church tries to connect people to God who are misconnected or disconnected or misaligned with themselves. The wounded womb is when multiple sexual partners
come in,
will wound your womb. Your womb is a mind, ma'am.
All right.
Your womb, remember, if you have a miscarriage once, if it is not corrected, the womb will repeat it because it is a memory. There's a medical term for the memory, for the mind of the womb that escapes my lexicon now. But the womb itself has a thinking, has an engine.
All right.
It has a mind. It remembers. It can repeat. If you literally commit abortion, it's a violent attack on your womb. You literally mutate the womb to be a grave, from womb to tomb. Wow. Because that's what I want you to hear me very carefully. And if you've miscarried before, there are two things that follow you. A spirit of death resides in your womb. A spirit of death follows every offspring that you give from that womb. Because blood cries. The Bible said the other day that God said to Cain, the blood of Abel is crying against you. It's crying for vengeance.
Because it was violently taken away.
But the principle is blood has a voice. Any blood that is spilled has a voice. God says this blood is crying. It's not just Cain's blood. It's called the law of first mention. If God says that Cain's blood Christ was the first murdered person or murder victim, then it means that every murdered victim's blood cries. And if there is no appeasement of that blood follows and vengeance, and there are people with marked heads. So when we talk about the wounded womb, how do you wound the womb? Multiple sexual partners, men carry energy. The womb is not just a place of liquid. It's a place of vibration. It's a place of frequency. Sex itself is sacred energy exchange.
Transmitted, yeah.
So sex is literally transmission of energy. A man who sleeps with you remains with you. Remember, women are receivers, men are givers. So when I bring myself to a female, I leave my mindset there.
You deliver it there.
I deliver it there. And all my conscious cosmic acts within the mindset and the consciousness of the universe are in my being. And when I leave that in you, if I'm angry at myself, if I have people who've got murder didactics, I've left that energy vibrating in you. That's a womb. A womb is a retainer. When a womb is injured, it retains. And not only that, it creates a harvest.
All right. It's working.
It's working.
To deliver what you put in.
So a womb is not just a biological instrument, a biological organ that God gives women. So much that you can have a hysterectomy and remove the womb and think you're normal. You're not normal. You have hear me very well. When you remove your womb, you have literally defeminized you. It's a defeminizing process because now you're no longer a wombed man.
All right.
The major distinction, the major epicenter,
that's true.
The embassy of you being a woman. You spoke about the things connected to the woman.
Yeah, the womb.
Your fallopian tubes.
Yeah. The ovaries.
Ovaries.
Yes.
Everything, the muscles that keep it.
The birth canal.
The birth canal.
Yes.
All that communicates with the mind because it communicates with hormones. The womb has to function with other externals, but there are hormones that just maintain the womb.
True.
Just to maintain it.
True.
So now when you remove it, I have counseled a lot of women who said they never told me of this stress that comes, this high level depression that comes with removing the womb. Because removing the womb, you're actually removing the female consciousness.
Oh, wow.
The consciousness of femininity is in the womb. That's what spiritually, when I talk as a man of God.
The biological clock.
The biological clock.
For women.
For women. But not only that, the consciousness of femininity is the womb. It regulates that in the spiritual realm. Without a womb, you are a man. Jeez. Without a womb, you are me.
This is deep.
Yes, without that womb, you are me.
In fact, that's why I asked when God created the distinguishing features of the male and the female at a hormonal level. Yes, we are different. But the reason why we're different at a hormonal level is exactly because of the womb.
The womb.
And the systems that control it.
The systems that control the womb.
Yeah.
The environment that is conducive for
the womb.
In the womb and outside the womb. The womb must be controlled internally and externally. There are things that can cause the womb to get sick.
You mentioned multiple sexual partners.
Yes, sir.
We have an epidemic of enormous proportion in our day, where girls no longer think that they should get into marriage as virgins.
Yeah.
Which means we are getting men who are ministering in that womb.
Yeah.
Before the time. What is the impact of this on girls?
It's generational, number one. Not every sperm that comes into a woman comes out. Not all of it comes out with the feces. Not all of it comes out with the discharges. No. The other sperm goes and feuds with your bone marrow. It enters into your bone, becomes one with you. So you are one with the sperm that enter you. If you, the purpose of God created you as a female and put a seal called the hymen.
Actually, it's an organ.
It's an organ. The hymen is an organ.
Medically, we know it's now an organ.
It's now an organ that covers and
the opening of your birth canal.
Of your birth canal.
Yeah.
It's now deemed as an organ.
Yeah.
But, and to be honest, it has no medical function. That's why it breaks.
Yeah.
So when you ask the mind of the manufacturer, what was that? That's the seal.
Exactly. When this seal is broken, this product is not new.
How many of you buy things on Take a Lot and buy things online and they arrive at your house with a broken seal? How many of you take it? So every man that married a woman who's not a virgin has broken seals. I'll tell you why. One, the spiritual energy of that girl who slept around with the other men. It means that you are literally a circus or you are a pool of energies swimming together, conflicting energies. That shows an aberration, because you were not created as a female to have and harness all these energies all in
On
you
you.
at once. It's too much pressure spiritually, soully, when I say soul, in the soulish realm, and also in the physical realm. It's too
Yeah.
much pressure. This is why now you've got multiple character traits, you've got bipolar syndromes. You are not like that. I'm not talking about psychosis where you've gone to a doctor and the doctor diagnosed you with this. And even those, if I go and investigate the sexual life of the people that came, I can guarantee you, a mother who's on antidepressants, if she has a child, the child will be born bipolar with the disease of the mother by the
transmits.
medication.
Exactly.
So all these men live their disease, whether it's a physical disease or it's a spiritual disease, they live it. So God created the hymen and put it as a seal to protect not the female, to protect the men who come there. Because man is a competitive creature by being. So if I broke the seal, I have nothing to compete with. But when the seal is broken, it means that my esteem and integrity in maintaining you can be challenged.
Because I know there are other ministers
The seal was
here.
broken. I didn't break the seal.
Yeah.
And by the way, the Bible calls us, our body, the temple of God. No, you know that there's no greater church than a human temple.
Exactly.
There's no greater Bible than human words spoken to another human being.
In fact, when Paul writes to the Corinthian church, he says, "Know ye not that he who commits adultery is joined
with a prostitute together, and they are one.
And they sin against their own bodies."
Now, you are talking about the sin against your body.
Yeah.
The womb speaks. Every disease that you have that has to do with the womb is talking to you. Fibroids, the womb is talking.
Yeah.
Cysts, the womb is talking. Sometimes cysts come because the womb is penalizing you for sleeping with wrong men, and the womb will penalize you, and the womb will speak. It's a wounded womb.
It will cry out.
It will protest on why are you bringing this person in who's not good for us. That the womb speaks. I know that I'm trying to work on my language as I
This is too deep and too raw.
I'm trying.
So I hope someone out there is not offended. We're just dissecting things here.
Yeah.
The way we understand.
Design denotes function.
Thank you.
So when you talk about, there is a way the woman anatomy was designed
to function.
When you're not playing rugby, you are slapping, you are slapping,
you are being hit, falling
down. Your body was not created for that. So now what you do, you end up having testosterone, test injections, everything to compensate the lack of testosterone, to raise your level. One of the purpose of a man's testicles is to deal with stress.
Exactly.
To literally make sure that stress doesn't kill you. You don't have that. You give a woman that, she will fry her eggs. Those two eggs are what our two testicles are. Different function.
Yeah. They are inside where it's warm and hot, and you're born with all of them.
You're born with all of them.
But men have to generate them every day.
Every day. And you were telling me this, that if you have 3 generations, a grandmother, a granddaughter, and a daughter, the grandmother was born with all the eggs for this one. You were telling me that.
Yeah. In fact, when a girl is born, she has all the eggs she needs for her lifetime.
Come on. Enough
from birth. They are not active until puberty, when certain hormones begin to kick in and they activate the womb.
Sir. Yes, sir.
But I guess she has to wait, because there's a hymen protecting the entrance. She has to wait until she's married for fertilization and the womb to receive the first child.
Yeah.
And so women don't produce eggs after they are born. They are
produced with them.
Exactly.
Wow.
They are already in there. But for a man, every day,
generate.
In your scrotal sac, you're generating billions and billions of sperms every day.
Yeah.
You only need one man to populate the whole of South Africa.
One man.
But for a woman to give birth to a child, it takes quite a bit of time. Because the womb has a process and a memory it has to work through.
There you go.
Yeah, it takes men just like that to produce another round of sperms. But for women to produce an egg,
it takes a lot.
They need
the meticulous
21 days.
Look at that. Yes, 21 days.
Then this breaks down.
Yep.
And you go into your monthly cycle.
Yep.
Now, you mentioned one reason why the womb is bleeding. Multiple sexual partners. What are the other in sports? You mentioned sports now. even women going into men's
arenas
work.
because you're putting pressure. And please let me say this. I am not sexist, yet I am, because I don't use a girl's toilet. I use a men's toilet. Because this subject of sexism changes based on the thing. When it's when
at
we
home,
are teaching,
at home you share the toilet.
At home we share the toilet.
Yeah.
Outside home, no, we are now sexist. But we are teaching here not to attack gender, but we are trying to maintain the integrity of the cosmic archetypal rights of function, because design denotes function. And if we are going to preserve a legacy and a generation, then we have got to address these covert attacks from the enemy that are manifesting themselves as such. When you talk about multiple sex partner, rough sex, that type of sex you engage in can destroy the womb. It can. When you do rough sex, and then there are women who love, they say, the G-spot, which is really not the G-spot, is the tail of the clitoris. And they like when you have sex there, they say the offs, when the man is hard grinding. Very, very pleasurable for women when it's hard grinding. But that literally scar tissues that area, and that's where most of the fibroid tissue begins, because of that hard scarring. And you're saying it's pleasurable, but you are destroying. You are destroying the womb by rough sex, handcuffs. Actually, sex is a language that betrays how healthy you are with your esteem.
Okay.
So if you give sex to someone who's not worthy, that's self-hate. If you are reacting rape scenes, you want handcuffs, you want someone to beat you, it's showing me that you are sick, because that's not normal behavior.
All right.
But you have taken abnormal and made it normal because of trauma, and nobody healed you. And now you are taking it as a normal, as a normal for taste that you have. It's not a taste. You were indoctrinated into that bad behavior, and you have got to be healed. You always have all these fibroids. Look at the type of sex you're having. It could be that you are violating your anatomy. You are being rough at it. It must be gentle. And also, one of the things that kills your womb is the food you eat. Let me not even go to food. Your dressing. A woman's vagina is a breathing organism. Okay. It literally needs to breathe. It breathes. It has to breathe. You ask your gynae, they will tell you that that's a breathing organism. All right. Your lungs are bigger than mine. Yours are smaller. So you need to breathe as much as you can. So when it's cold, I generate heat faster so I can take my jacket and give you, because your lungs are small. And yet when I touch the woman's body, is warmer than mine, because the body is under pressure. Small little lungs. Think of a small car with a small engine performing well, and think of the V12 big cylinder, I'm talking about capacity, right? Yeah. So that's how God created us. So if you are going to wear tight clothes, and always be in tight clothes, I have no indictment against your fashion. But don't suffocate your vagina by what you wear. Because if you are suffocating your vagina, you will cause the womb to bleed. Because all those clothes that you are suffocating, it has to breathe. That's why women wore suckling clothing. It was suckling to allow aeration to flow and to connect with nature, because a woman is connected to water and the earth. A man is connected to the air and to fire. These are the elements that we are connected to. So when we look at you as a woman, how your fashion could be killing your womb. From the Victorian times, these dresses that used to
tighten on the waistline
and literally change the integrity of the intestines. These women's intestines, they died with funny diseases for the purpose of looking sexy. How you dress could be killing and suffocating you. And you, I think, it's fashion. It's fashion to the grave.
In fact, I know medically that the biggest breathing organ is not the nose.
It's the pores.
It's the skin.
The skin.
Yeah.
They are all over.
Exactly.
They are all over.
So God has allowed air to come in through our
whole system.
Other systems.
Yeah.
And so I think there definitely is a need for us to ensure that we don't put too tight of clothes on us.
Yes.
All right.
Because your clothing, your underwear could be unhealthy for G-strings were for Spartans. They were not for women. In their etymology, G-string was not for you. It became for you later with fashion coming up. I don't want to deviate and go there. Yeah. Because that's for another topic. But when
the same applies for men. How tight your underwear is, it determines this quality of the sperm.
Same story.
Because there's a reason why God allowed your your sperms, not your ovaries, your sperms, to your testicles to be hanging outside and to maintain a certain temperature.
Yes, sir.
And here you are covering them with very warm nylon stuff and pulling them up.
Yeah.
It does affect the quality of the sperm.
The quality of the sperm. And the attack on your womb is an attack on your spirit.
So what other things do wound the womb?
Rape.
All right.
Rape wounds the womb. Yeah.
How does it do that?
When you rape a woman, you give her wrong information and you access her goods early. She does not have it depends when you were raped. For example, let's break rape down. When you rape a child, 0 to 6 years, you rape a child there, 0 to 7. They don't have a language or a vocabulary for sex.
They don't know what that happened. And why did they do it this way?
Why did they do it this way? So you've split their soul by exposing them to something that even the hymen is still closed to say. You are the reason
even
the hymen,
ovaries are not even producing the hormones.
So you are traumatizing the body because you are putting a demand it cannot function. It's like you are driving your car with no oil.
Wow.
And expecting it to perform. You will knock the engine. Many females knock their engines early because
of rape.
You had sex without the juice, the mentality, the understanding. It was imposed. So it gave you a wrong vocabulary for sex. So you are literally damaged goods. You are damaged. So rape wounds, because now the information you have in your mind, you keep in your womb.
So there's a very close connection for the woman in terms of the mind. I
always say the mind of a woman is directly connected, intricately connected with the womb. You access whoever has access to your womb has access to your mind. You cannot keep. I always give unless you are a mutant. You have gone through the successful process of demonic gendercide, which prostitutes adhere to, where you can sleep to someone you do not touch to. God never created a woman to sleep with someone and not give you the heart. A woman is not designed to give you a body without a heart. It's impossible for a woman to give you her body without giving you a heart, because her body and her heart are intricately tied together. But a man can give you his heart and not his body. And the man can give you his body and withhold his heart. That's how we are. He can sleep with you and give you one night stand and go back home to where his heart is, to his wife. So that's why I always counsel when you say was cheating on you, the first question to ask, does he love who he's cheating with?
Okay.
Because with men, it's different. A man can give you his body, but never his heart. This is why you can find them players, but not circling. But women are dazzled, they are damaged because you've put in so many people and attached to everything. Now you are just a hopeless romantic. Any man that comes in, you love him. Because your fences are destroyed by too much sex.
I want to bring this to a point where we speak to one lady out there, perhaps, who says, this is too painful to hear. Because it is. Lives are damaged. Destinies are warped. And generations are compromised because of the attacks that we allow to come into the body. If someone is sitting out there and is listening to this conversation, how should they process this and what should they do? Because on this podcast, we really want to inspire people. We really want to get them to say, look, you may have lost it and have gone south and have lived a life of a wounded womb. You were not aware that this is what's happening and your actions were doing this. How do we get them out of this hole and out of this mess? And I don't want us to talk only to women, because they don't do this alone.
No, there is for men. We are there today. We're saying wounded womb, but there is for men. We will talk about men.
Yeah, the demons in a man's mind.
The demons in a man's mind. We'll talk about men. But what you're asking is very, very deep. To a lady out there, and you're saying that you've never known this information, you've dropped the ball. I want to understand that you can reconnect again. Life is about birth and rebirth all the time.
Absolutely.
Birth and rebirth is the theme of life. Birth and rebirth. You can connect to your womb again. The problems that you come to the past, I want to throw you to the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit cannot help you here. Here you help yourself. You have got to connect with the womb again. And let me say this. Some of you have been talking against your body, and the womb will penalize you because the body hears. I don't like my body. I'm not beautiful. All these things affect you because the body hears, and the
All
body
right.
will
Gives you
reward
back.
you what you've saw through your words. Words create words. What you see in the platform of your life today is the result of what you spoke yesterday.
Wow.
So if you are here, you can start. It's never too late. If you've had abortion, it's never too late. You can have the ritual of reburying that child and silence the blood from the ground. Because if you did not, can I guarantee you, it will follow you and follow your children. That child you have is a firstborn by default. Because they've got Casper, the friendly causes, sisters and young brothers that need to be attended. It's never too late. Self-forgiveness is always the beginning. To forgive yourself and see yourself through new lanes and then start your journey as a woman again. It's never too late. You can.
And then when you say self-forgiveness, we include those who know they messed up.
Those who messed up.
You know you did this thing. You were foolish. Let's use the right word. You became a fool. And you did the wrong thing. Or maybe you were raped. You didn't choose it.
Didn't choose it.
Yeah, it just came. You're saying you need to start with self-forgiveness.
Start with self-forgiveness, whether it's giving you forgiveness or release. Forgiveness is not saying I'm having lunch with the person that hurt me. And sometimes the person is you. Forgiveness means I'm taking back the power of being a victim in your hands.
All right. Yeah.
When you pass, it has no impact on me anymore.
All right.
Forgiveness is not amnesia. Forgiveness is divorcing the pain from the memory.
All right.
Then I've forgiven you. It does not mean that you in my books you are a lesson. That's forgiveness. You are a lesson. So when we and sometimes
you're no longer the pain.
You're no longer the pain, because if you are the pain, it means
not
your power.
Yeah.
Power is in your hands.
It's still flowing, and I'm a victim, and I'm feeling your power.
Go back to the man that raped you and get back your power. Go back to the person that dropped you, get back your power. It's not over until you say so.
Wow.
You have got to get back that power.
Get it back.
And for you, who's in a relationship that's abusive, that's self-hate. You have employed that person to do to you what you can't do to yourself.
And you are allowing them to do
that's self-hatred. Yeah. And you pay them through that. That wounds.
So this forgiveness, does it also mean physical distance between the person? Maybe it's my husband or your wife. How do you forgive them and they remain in your presence? Is it possible to still be to forgive yourself?
Something very deep. Yes, you can forgive. I've realized that sometimes forgiving other people is much easier than forgiving yourself.
Because you know better.
Because you know better.
Yeah.
But it's possible.
All right.
Forgiveness is a conversation, and forgiveness begins with conversation, honest conversations, uncomfortable conversations, uncomfortable truth. If you cannot be uncomfortable with yourself, then you're not ready to engage in the conversation of forgiveness.
Yeah. So self-forgiveness is important.
Yes, sir.
And it's addressing the person who's bleeding inside.
Inside.
It's shutting the doors to the outside world and
yes,
saying,
sir,
within me, what is it that I'm feeling? And identifying how you're feeling.
The inner child.
Exactly. What is the inner child saying about this situation? It must never be about what you're saying about that person.
No.
But about what you as a person feel.
That's right, sir.
And deciding that from today onwards, I'm not going to focus on that person. There are many ways psychologically we get this message to the mind, which then gets transmitted for ladies to the womb. Write yourself a letter.
Yebo.
Dear Melusi.
Yebo.
I know on this day.
Yes.
You had 1, 2, 3, 4. You felt this. You were in pain. You were la. But I want to tell you today that I forgive you.
Yeah.
Read it to yourself.
Yeah.
Some people even frame them and put them nicely in their personal spaces there.
Yes.
But write a letter to yourself, and when you've forgotten what you said, go read it again.
And read it again.
And read it again until it's part of your mind.
Absolutely.
And when you walk outside there, I am not where I'm coming from. It is important mentally to tell yourself, the Melusi of yesterday is not this Melusi
of today.
This one is new.
Yeah.
Because if you cannot get back the hours you lost yesterday or that have gone by yesterday, don't bring what belongs to yesterday to today.
Absolutely.
It's a principle I always tell people when I counsel them. Why are you still angry? And you're so angry about what happened 20 years ago. Can you bring 20 years ago to today? No, you can't. You can't reverse time. So if you can't reverse time, try to keep those memories in the past. And even if the person comes back into your mind, never focus on the person.
Focus on you.
Because if you focus on the person, you're going to relapse.
Yeah.
You're going to relapse. And when you relapse, the pain is going to come back overbearing on you like you are going through the act again.
Absolutely, sir.
And so psychologically, for me, self-forgiveness means being conscious that what happened yesterday does not define who you are today.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And that you are free to become who you've always wanted to be.
Yeah.
Even if it means you're married and you're living with this person, it is important to realize even this person you think hurt you is not the same who hurt you before. They have changed.
That's
so
powerful.
that's what I understand. I hope I've represented the thought
You're
well.
a forensic psychologist. You are spot on.
Oh my God, thank you so much.
Yes.
Yes, speak to the ladies out there. How else do they recover? Anything they should do to recover from this wounded womb? Because many of them, I'm sure, they might want to have children.
Yeah.
They might want to get married again.
Yeah.
They might want to be parents again.
It depends the degree of the wound of your womb. All wounds are not the same. But I see wounded wombs everywhere. Everywhere. I see wounded wombs everywhere. And one of the other ways, the type of contraceptives that you use are very important. Don't just use contraceptive that you have no understanding because you want to be sexual. I understand that most women do that because some have got irregular menstrual cycles, some pains. So some of those medications are given to balance your hormones, your acne and all. But you must understand the mutation it brings on your body. Because how most birth control pills, which I call them a death control pill, from its etymology, it was not life, it's death. Because it's not a birth control, it's a death control because it's prohibiting life. So it's a death control pill for me. And the danger is the aftermath. Because now that you want to have a child, what that does, you must understand whether it's the thing they put here, the chip, whether it's the injection, whether it's the nanomolar loop. They put the nanomolar loop, which is a copper one, that electrocutes your sperm, and then that's over, according to this one. But all of these, most of them operate by gender bending or pregnancy mimicking hormones in your system to trick your system into saying we are pregnant by heightening estrogen. That pill is literally an estrogen conglomerate. Yeah. And what it does, it estrogenizes this area and then tricks this area into, I'm just using layman, you are the doctor, into thinking you're pregnant. So you miss your pregnancy and you continue. The question I'm asking is that what that does
to the system,
womb. Your womb is far worse. Now, you want to have kids, you stop. Based on your level of fertility, thank God black women are always fertile. Because most black women are trying not to have kids. Most white women are trying to have kids.
Well, we do know that the average fertility rate of a woman in Africa is about 4 children.
Listen to that one.
And in Europe,
it's about
one
or two. Too lucky.
Yeah, in China,
1.
2, they will penalize you.
But the question is that now you want to have a child.
Yeah.
This is for another session, but do you know that we are all born females in the womb?
That's true.
And then we change through biology.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
the
then
XY.
XY.
Yeah.
That's a function of biology. I want to say that again.
Yes.
Your gender is a function of biology. Now, if I'm going to put a pill that estrogenizes me every time, and we know the tail of a male sperm and the female sperm as funny, and we know the speed of a male sperm and the which we're talking about as funny, the whole environment in the womb is now estrogenic. So you realize that the sperm of a male is faster, but dies faster also.
That's true.
It doesn't last longer in the womb. It wasn't so.
Yeah.
Even with how it is now, we still have more men that are born than females, but we die faster than females. But more males are born than females up to now. You were showing me in your notes in China, it's 120 to 100. For 120 men, there's 100 females born.
Yeah. In fact, for every 100, there are 10 more males.
10 more males
that are being born.
But we die fast. After born.
Check us when we get to 40s. We are less.
We are less. That's right. We are less.
Yeah.
And also in the womb, they say the female ones last longer. Wow. Not because they can, but because the atmosphere is conducive.
That's the biology that makes it possible.
Now, this gender bending pill, it is 100% correct to say. I think I'm still waiting for a medical doctor to oppose me on this,
All right.
that it is possible for your body to be chemicalized as female
Okay.
and your mind as male in the womb.
Mm.
And then a child is born here saying, I feel like a man that was born in a woman's body. And then you say it's a demon. It's not a demon, it's biology, sir.
I actually watched a video of a lady who was worried, why have I not started my period? I'm now 13, 14, 15, 16. She went to the doctors and said, I'm a girl. I've got breasts. She looks feminine by her looks and her features. Went to the doctor and the doctor said, you don't have a womb.
Oh,
Yeah, so there's
You
no
have no
way.
womb.
Yeah, your body is male in terms of its biology.
but when we register you,
Yeah.
you are a male.
You are a male biologically, but female, when we look at you,
You are a
features,
female.
you are female.
Take a deeper look.
And she had to reflect on this and say what it means for her.
This is very deep. This is what I'm saying. Paul can't come and teach this now.
Oh, no.
No, Paul understood homosexuality, sodomy from a pedophilia perspective.
Yes.
A practice of the Romans that is not here. Right now we are dealing with
It's
medical
mutated.
prowess.
Yeah.
And if you as a pastor
Yeah.
is not, and you will cast a demon where there's biology.
Yeah.
Because we demonize what we can't diagnose.
That's true.
You'll be saying,
That's
come out,
deep.
come out. There's no come out. That's
No,
biology.
The lady doesn't just have a womb.
What does that lady do? So it means that she's been a lady or she's a man.
But she's got the breast. She looks female.
But biology gives the identity as a man. Can you imagine
Yeah.
if she wants to align and say I'm a man? She won't be accepted because of the lexicon we have of perceiving people.
Yeah.
So again, this is why church must be very careful in the times we live in. In the stereotypia that we give people
Male and
based
female.
on male and female. Remember, these are archetypal. I call them principles. It's a principle.
Yes.
The male principle, the female principle. When you keep principles, God makes you a principality. Now that what you're saying is very deep. When we talk about
Yes.
this is for another topic because
Yeah.
I get excited. They get
I
mixed.
want us to talk about gender side.
Yes.
And this is where all these things come in.
That's where this is all in gender side because
Yeah.
before we even go, what is the purpose of male and female in itself is not them. It's the picture of divinity. So to attack those is to literally attack a higher mindset.
Because Romans says that which is in sin is seen in that which was created.
Oh, yes. So we see the creator in the createe.
Yes.
Or in that which is created.
So the determination of biology for male, female is actually divine.
There's the properties of divinity
Yeah.
that are exhibited in humanity.
And so by default, Bishop, we are saying God is the one who can fix this for us.
First of all, we must take responsibility that we've created this. These things we have now, these gender mutations, these new mutant human beings. Some are born with 7 fingers, 8, 9. Some are born with both fully functional vagina, fully functional penis,
in one
and then
person.
in one person. In Guinea, I think it's Guinea. There was a document I was reading that had Hermaphrodite women that had full vaginas and full breasts, and they impregnated themselves.
Wow.
Self-impregnation. So that's why some people are even trying to say Mary, the mother of Christ, was this type of being. There are many. You see, we read med stuff. So, but they're there medically captured. That how do we even say? What do we say to a fully functional vagina and thing collectively embedded in one human being?
person?
What do we call that? Who created that? Have we ever seen that? That's our own creation through science. Because in science, in intelligence, we've created other beings that are ours that we must now, yes, the chemicalization, the food, the water.
You were going to talk about food, yes. You were going to talk about food and its impact. Because you are what you eat.
You are what you eat. Your food is consciousness.
The quality of your sperm, the quality of your pH in the body has to do with the food that you're eating.
Your whole food is you. So God gave you trees. I believe that trees are there to relate with us. That's why it was called the tree of good and evil.
Yeah.
In that whole concept of tree.
So in a tree, there's good, there's evil.
There's evil. So you must know which tree to eat and which tree not to eat. So there are trees to eat.
Yeah.
There are trees to not to eat from.
Yeah.
Now, when we talk about your biochemistry chip that you are, the biochemistry, your ability to process information, intelligence to information is based on your biochemistry. There's a difference between intelligence and information. And many people go to school and get PhD, but they don't have the capacity to translate the intelligence to information because of their biochemist. So your doctor will come to you and say, if you smoke, it will kill you. Stop smoking. While he's smoking, he can't stop because he is literally he can't translate the intelligence to information.
And the practice that
saves it doesn't save him. So he has intelligence, but he does not know how to convert it to information, and then information to action to wisdom. Because wisdom will judge it what you did. That guy is wise because you've got a repetitive track record, a consistent relationship with responsibility that shows you that you're there. So this is why food can compromise you,
especially the manufactured food, because there's the natural food. Then there's food we chemically manufacture in our labs.
Absolutely.
That we know triggers certain hormonal responses from the body.
Absolutely. That baby powder formula should not give your child.
Give them milk.
Give them your breast milk. And if you're running out of milk, it's your womb that's wounded. That's another thing about the wounded womb. You have a mother. That is a child, but the body says, I have no milk. Where did the milk? Who ate the milk? Your lifestyle, your behavior, finish that milk somewhere. Now your child has no milk because you were sexually reckless and your energy is mutated. And now you have a child, biology registered, but you have no milk. It's showing me that you have a wounded womb and the lifestyle you've been living is not healthy, or you are not coming from genetic genes that are healthy. Because all these things are wounded wombs. How do you produce a child and your body does not have the milk for the child? Now we have to use soya. Soya milk. That thing is poison for men. Now you've got a child at 9-year-old, the girl has got boobs. She's going through a menstrual cycle at 7. That is not correct.
So much is changing in our lives, including men as well.
Low sperm count, sexual libido is down.
Exactly. I mean, we could have another show with a medical doctor or a nutritionist and tell us how food changes us. And the Bible is right when it says you are what you eat.
No, you are.
You
are what you eat.
Yeah. The food that you eat, it becomes part of you. And therefore, when you eat food, it's a spiritual act that you're performing.
One of the instructions from the Bible is that when you kill an animal to consume, after the flood, that's when we had permission to eat animals.
Yeah.
And some theologian says, so what were the priests doing with the burnt offerings? Anyway, that's for another day. Because before that, there were burnt offerings that were going.
Exactly.
But anyway.
So when you kill the animal,
it must be calm, and it must be painless, and it must be fast. It must be one strike.
Yeah.
The Quran teaches that. That is the kosher way of teaching. The Jews in the kosher way. That there is a way the blood drips everywhere. Why? The state of an animal in its death determines its essence and soul.
Hormones,
When you eat the meat, you are eating the soul of the animal. I want to say this again. You are not only eating the animal, you are eating the mindset of the animal.
How it felt when it was killed.
So when you eat an animal that died in pain, that's why there's so much fear. Fear of prices, fear of what? Because most of our animals die in fear. If you see how animals are killed, they see their death coming, and that's the state of their being. And go and do your search. The state of that being of the animal, when you scientifically evaluate the meat itself, the
look
property,
at what it has.
and you can tell an animal that died in peace and one that died, and then now there's a transimpartation
of that
spirit state of that animal that was in anger. What was it eating? And now we have violence in our countries. We have lasciviousness. We've got rapes, mass murders, mass deaths. Why are these things happening? I'll tell you why. Number one is the food. I'll come to the water.
Yeah.
Spiritually speaking, the most unclean place to drink water from is a river. Because spiritually, rivers were for cleansings, not for drinking. Washing clothes, cleansing evil, cleansing leprosy, tossing, initiations are done at the river. We drank from springs. We drank from rain pots. There were realms with lakes. We don't drink from rivers. Rivers are for cleansings. Then they are carried to the sea. We never drank from there. What happens now? We've got dams, which are artificial systems from rivers. They get them from rivers. So when someone dies here, when an accident happens on N1, when people loot and kill people, and someone is stabbed and dies, and it rains, and it bleeds. When the rains come, they carry the blood to the river. And the river is the same thing that you drink when you open your tap. So the spirit of death and blood, and simply because chloroquine has literally
removed all the germs.
It didn't remove it, just color. It changes the color of you when you see it. I wish you just take your water from your tap and look at it under a microscope. It's not as pure as you see. And then you see all these nice white people at engine garage. And Uwanutaki is buying Coke, Sprite, lemonade. White people are buying water. Tina, Sitenga, Sprite, Coke. They're buying water. They only use that water for what it's meant, to wash, to purify, to cleanse. For drinking, the spiritual impurity of water. That the water carries all these things. Impurities. And then now, it takes it as through evaporation, condensation, reports to the heavens of the atrocities on earth, and we are recycling garbage because we don't even have spiritual acts of cleansing the rivers. Moses would cleanse rivers. In the Bible, rivers could be contaminated. The waters could be bitter. Our waters are bitter because we have violence, because I'm drinking violence. When I open my tap, and I'm drinking water collected from an earth source where there's murder, there's debauchery, there's lasciviousness, all this type of lifestyle. And it's coming from the waters. And I'm regurgitating the aberrations of earth. And now they are seen in people because water is life. You are 78% water. More than food, you are 78% water. God created from the water. The earth is 80% water. God broods on water. You live in water for 9 months. So the relationship between water integrity and you should be uncompromised.
Yeah, exactly.
The fruits, we're eating the fruits. When you go to the store and you're saying you're eating a fruit with no seedless fruit.
Yeah.
What are you eating? The essence of the fruit is the seed.
Modified, yeah.
Yeah, so it's genetically modified. So it means that it's synthetic. So even your senses are becoming synthetic. Your feelings are becoming synthetic. Your compassion is becoming synthetic. Your levels of being compassionate, they are synthetic because we are living in a highly synthetic and syntheticized.
So the fight we are fighting with the devil here is not just direct combat.
We shouldn't even be praying now. Scientific, biological.
It's covert.
It's covert.
Yeah.
Calculated.
He's backdooring the church.
Left, right, and center.
You are saved looking at the cross, but behind, he's killing you with food.
With food, with fashion, with sex, with what you read.
So I believe, I was listening to a sermon by one of my favorite preachers, and he says, God is going to seal the 144,000. And he says, my problem is not my problem is not the number. My problem is, where will God get those 144 from? Because many are corrupted. Many are lost. But let's bring this to a close. Yeah. I want you to give us your final word, the wounded womb, and what hope is there for our women and our brothers out there. Because the attack is definitely clear. Yeah. He's using all fronts, whether spiritual, whether behavioral, whether social, whether economic, the way we eat, the way we sleep, the way we talk. The devil is attacking us through all those avenues. But what is the word of hope you want to leave our viewers and our listeners out there?
Earlier on, we were speaking and I was telling you that this is me. The menstrual cycle that women have is an aberration, is a sickness, is a disease. You are not supposed to go on your cycle. If you are a gynec woman, if you are a woman that has not been contaminated with evolution and the escalation of intelligence and the explosion of civilization as we have, you wouldn't have that menstrual cycle. It was called a period. That's why you're on your period. And it's supposed to be a period, which is like sporting. And
but
that's what pregnant
means 4 to 5 days or 7 days.
Yeah, but the definition of a period means period. When I say period,
right.
I mean like that period.
Yeah, that moment.
That I'm on my periods. Why does that? You have a spot when they would open the underwear, they would see those spotting, and then they would say, "I'm on my period," because it was a period, as a period in English, a period.
Yeah.
When does it become a flaw? When it's a flaw, it's a sickness. And we've made a sickness a normality. The Bible says there was a woman that had an issue of blood.
Not a flaw.
Not a flaw. she had an issue of blood, which was a flow. Some versions say flow.
Came through.
Through. It says that
All right.
which...
It kept coming through.
Please, can I ask you guys today? The Bible says she was bleeding for 12 years. If a woman bleeds for 24 days, she will die. If a woman goes on a cycle without stop 24 days, she will die. Use common sense. Do you think this woman bled for 12 years non-stop on a cycle? Let's be honest, that makes the Bible a book for tales.
Exaggerated, yeah.
Don't use the problem when we read the Bible, we leave our brains out the door. And people like us who use our brains have a problem. Because when I read the Bible, 12 years, so you mean this? I had to study. Yeah, for you it's fine. You think that she was, but she's the only woman ever created to cause that. Because medically, every doctor agrees with me. No woman can bleed for 12 years straight, and even if she only went 4 days, only a week, and be alive. Impossible. It is even a miracle that she's alive.
Anemia will kill her.
And hemoglobin levels, anemia, hygiene. That didn't happen. Simply, that woman was just a 21st century woman. She had caught up with the aberrations of today. She had a woman's issue that once a month she went on a cycle. And for 12 years, she had these cycles that every month she would have 7 days or 5 days or 4 days of this thing. Once a month. It makes sense. It was exactly like this.
Okay.
A flow. Where I'm going at is this one. Don't be lost with my controversy. Hear the revelation in the grain of truth. This woman here met Jesus and says immediately her flow stopped. Immediately. Then he called her. Said, no, come back. You were healed. Now you are whole. There's a difference. Wow. There's a difference between being healed and being made whole. Wholeness comes from... wholeness creates holiness. You cannot be holy if you are not whole. Because the root word of holy is whole. Wholeness. So he says, no, come back. Yeah. You are healed, which is what everyone wants. You look simply because it stopped, it does not mean that it's not there. You are observing the symptoms. I want to deal with the root whole. It says, now you are whole. He goes. Wow. This is the message I give to women. That you can be a gynaec woman again. You can be a divine woman again. You can be an organic female again. You can lessen the level of assault hell gives at you. Uitande. You speak to your womb. You speak to your body. It listens. How you speak to your body? Speak to your body with care. Speak to your body with love. Because we will give you what we find vibrating. And we always give you your own voice. Yeah, your own life will invoice you with your own voice. Your own voice. All those dogs that have dated you, it's the bucks you've given to yourself. And so, if you can heal from what you've made normal and abnormal, you've made normal. From your behaviors, from the things you take, from the abuse you take from guys, from the things you take. You have got to love yourself and say, if I have to have myself alone, I'm already heavy by myself. To bring someone else with drama into my life when I'm dealing with my own chaos is too much. Love yourself. And how do you love yourself? Give yourself only the best and don't allow others to give you what you dare not give yourself.
This is deep. On another day, we're going to talk about the demons in a man's mind. Friends, this has been deep. I hope this has blessed you. If you have any questions, if you have any comments, you want to add anything to these conversations, please do leave a comment below. We hope that this will bless you. This will awaken your thinking. Now we know the mind of a woman is through the womb. Food for another day. God bless you. Remember to like and to subscribe and to follow this channel. And we look forward to the next episode. God bless you.